Support for this show, Politics Done Right, comes from politicsdoneright.com, publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It, As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto, Willies. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto, Willies, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to Northeast Texas, Southeast Texas, Northwest Louisiana, Southwest Louisiana, and to every nook and cranny receiving the signals from our 100,000 watt transmitter, going into those magical boxes known as radios, aka the Howard Reynolds machines. Anyway, welcome to the rest of the world who receives us through the magic of El Internet, the internet formerly known as the ARPANET, created by we the people, funded by we the people, and now controlled by the billionaires. But you know what, folks? What are we going to do? We're going to take all back from those who took it away from us. But without further ado, let's go to El Estudio with the geniuses, Howard Reynolds, Jack Van Bebber.
Jack, do you have your Take It Back kit done yet?
Well, I'm working on that one.
Okay, be sure to include some dynamite sticks. Okay?
Yes.
Oh,
We got them right here on the mics.
I think. Oh, yeah, we do, don't we?
Dynamite sticks on our mics.
Wednesday morning. No, it is Thursday morning at the radio, December 19th, 2024. And good morning, Egberto. It's going to be another fine day. I happen to notice this morning that the Donald has torpedoed the government funding bill.
Oh my
Mike
God.
Johnson's bipartisan funding bill threw a fit over something. It doesn't say exactly what it is and why he did it. I'm probably going to investigate that more as we go along this morning. I'd just like to know why he does this. And, let this be a warning to all the other Republican representatives. When they have a bill that they put together, he's going to do the same thing to you. He'll torpedo it. Because
they need
this
to
is
get permission first.
Well,
Here's the thing, Howard.
I don't know a damn thing about that. I just know that they didn't kiss the ring. So,
yes.
You can't pass that bill.
Let me tell you, Howard, they forgot the most important thing. You want to pass a bill from now on, you have to go through Musk. Musk will then give the president or the elected president permission to do it. And then it'll get done. But, one of the reasons they torpedoed the bill is they want to. Do you remember the debt increase fight about actually, I think it was last year or the year before, when they were going to shut the government down and end our credit and all of that. And it was going to turn the entire world into turmoil because Republicans were concerned about spending and they didn't want to have the debt increase. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. I do.
Well, now, what they want before Trump comes into power, they want a debt increase so that it looked like the debt increase was not passed under Trump, but there's
Biden.
A big debt increase. Yeah. So what they want is to pass a debt increase in discontinuing bill. And the Democrats better not give them that. They better, if they want to increase the debt, let them go through what Biden went through in order to get through the debt. It's a nasty game. Anyway, let me throw it right back to you, brother.
Well, okay. Jack has about a half a page of wisdom here, and maybe he's got a better rant than I do. What you got, man?
Well, good morning, Egberto. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Jack, talk to me.
All right. Your topic this morning. I'm gonna say what Jonathan Cantor said. This quote is from U.S. Assistant Attorney General Jonathan Cantor. It says it all. When companies larger and wealthier and more powerful than most world governments threaten individual liberty with coercive private taxation and regulation, it threatens our way of life. And I believe that's exactly what we'll see this next Trump administration. He's appointing billionaires and Project 2025 authors to cabinet positions. What me worry? What could go wrong?
You want a list? I think I can conjure a list here real quick.
I had to do my Alfred E. Newman.
I understand. All righty then. Egberto, what you got? You got a great show, and Neil Aquino is here today. So let's get after it.
Yeah, we'll get at it, man. The one and only El Señor Neil Aquino, founder of the Houston Democracy Project at HoustonDemocracyProject.com. I repeat, HoustonDemocracyProject.com. I want to make sure that people go out there and stay informed. Remember, folks, we have a mainstream media that is being co-opted by the new administration. We'll go into that later. And that's why we have projects, we have entities like the HoustonDemocracyProject.com. Actually, it's HoustonDemocracyProject.com. Because again, we are going to have all avenues by a whole lot of small, by hundreds, by thousands of independent media people out there informing. Neil is one of many that we are getting out there and making sure we keep people informed. Anyway, my brother from another mother. Good morning, Neil. How you doing?
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Egberto. Good morning, studio. Good morning, local, regional, and vast global audience. And we appreciate you joining us. A lot of people are checked out for the holidays. I got a big artificial tree inside, and I got but then I bought a 4-foot, 3-foot outside tree as well, a natural tree. And so I got an inside and an outside tree and some menorahs as well. And I want distraction for the holidays, but here we're engaged today.
Well, you know what? It's important. You know what? Because even on Christmas, I am thinking about who I'm going to be spending Christmas with. And I have a feeling we're going to have a whole lot of political discussions on Christmas. The only good thing about it is when we have these political discussions, whether we disagree or not, we usually keep it pretty mellow. And, you know, given that the food is so damn good, half the time you forget that you're mad at each other for certain.
Right. I don't have excuse me. I don't have much family around. I've got I guess a few. Mm-hmm. I have an aunt apparently in Rhode Island. I'm told she has a picture of Trump in her home, hanging up on her wall. I don't speak to her too much. I did send her some pictures from Washington. Just when I'm on vacation, just to keep a little contact up. But I'll be here with the immediate folks and the two trees.
There you go. Well, hey, that's what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do. But look, we're going to have it's going to be a difficult 4 years. I want everybody to get ready for that. It's going to be a difficult 4 years. But what I want everybody to do as well is remember we still, and notice I say we can lose it, but we still have a democracy. And if we make sure not to do what we've done too often, which is think that just being quiet and just waiting it out is going to work, that is no longer a viable option. Everybody has got to be engaged with everything that's happening. Everything needs to be called out. Recently, I think I did it here on my program. Actually, I did it here on the program yesterday, which I cut up and replayed on the 3 o'clock show to point out to our rural brothers and sisters who are predominantly conservative voting folks. There's nothing wrong with being a conservative, etc. But when you are lied to for the policies that are going to get executed, and then you start to see it and not understand what's going on, it is our job. It is your job, Neil. It is my job. It is Howard's job, Jack's job to go out there and inform. And yes, I want to repeat something that I said yesterday. 2 subjects: income tax preparation and the USPS privatization. Those 2 topics are the first things being tackled right now on the right. And who does that affect disproportionately? People in rural areas. Reduction in the delivery of your mail or the increase in the prices of your mail means that you're already far away, which means you order a lot of stuff by mail. And now they're talking about restricting how often your mail is picked up, how often your mail is delivered, even if you're going to have a post office. That doesn't affect us here. These big blue areas in the cities, hey, guess what? We will be fine. We will do just fine, because guess what? All the big distribution areas are here. But our rural brothers and sisters, what the Republicans are doing to save some money with the USPS, and I'm not even talking solely about privatization. I'm talking about how often they deliver your mail, how often they pick up the mail, how much does it cost. That affects you more than it affects folks in the cities.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Not only that, you saw where Ken Paxton is suing the doctor in New York for mailing birth control pills, and then they want to surveil your content. Maybe you get something indicating you're transgendered, and that's one more. I think to myself, how could I communicate? Because everything we do over this stuff is monitored and tracked, and I think to myself, in some ways, it's retro, but maybe a way you could communicate with someone was sending them a letter, and you get this through Bezos mail or whatever they do. That's just one more way for everything to be tracked and watched and handed over.
Exactly. So it's important. And the other thing that I spoke about, Neil, is tax preparation software.
Right.
The people who levy taxes, or the people who get the Congress gives the power of the IRS to levy taxes, and they determine what the tax laws are going to be. And after that occurs, the IRS implements it. Right now, the way it's done is TurboTax and all these tax preparation software gets entry into your government system so that they can transmit your return that you prepared through their software to the IRS. Well, the IRS says, why should we, the individual people, have to pay some third party so that they can file their taxes? The tax is being paid to the government. Doesn't it make sense for the government to give you the portal to do your taxes?
Right.
Of course it does. And now they're saying, well, that is a conflict of interest. How the hell is that a conflict of interest when the government is simply collecting money for its taxes? It makes no sense. And who this affect lower end people? Because lower end people, again, people that make, when I say lower end, I'm talking economically, that's a tax on them, another $100 or $150 for the tax preparation software. It makes no sense. And again, rural people who are, generally speaking, less economically, they have less money. That affects them more. Yeah. So people, my brothers and my sisters in rural areas who are listening to me, they tell you one thing, but the policies they implement, it hurts all of us, but it hurts you more. If you want to know why Appalachia is in the state that it's in, think about it. Think about who you vote for. And think about what happens in Appalachia. They cut your mountains down. They pollute your streams because you don't want regulations, right? They do all these things to you. They do it to you. And when you get mercury in your blood, or when you get the diseases, the health care that's needed to mitigate what they've done to you, what do they ask you again? Or what do they tell you? We don't believe in Medicare for all. If you can't afford health care, tough, die. Because if you want Medicaid, you got to be real broke. You better not have a house. You better not have this. You better not have that. Because you got to be dirt poor before the government ever tries to give you any kind of health assistance. Because individualism, right? We believe in individualism. We believe in lifting yourself up by the bootstraps. Of course, we have Musk sucking on the you-know-what of the government because all his businesses, it's your taxpayer money going directly to Musk. Many of their cloud money goes directly to Bezos. So, folks, the billionaires are ripping us off left and right with a smile. And you know who are their biggest defenders? The people who they're screwing the most. But anyway, that's my first rant of the morning. How you doing, Neil? I know you want to talk about something special, and then
well, you know what? That's
go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed you. You were going to take it?
No. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, that's a good segue. That really gets, and I'll say also, the Postal Service has long been a path to the middle class. I have some very close family members. There were 3 daughters in the home, and the one income predominantly, and the guy was a postal supervisor. All 3 daughters went to college, and that's another path to the middle class that they're killing. But this is a great lead off to what I want to talk about on the Houston Democracy Project blog. I was looking at Facebook a couple mornings ago, and I saw where Harris County-based Teamsters Local 988 authorized to strike against the big food company Cisco. Mm-hmm. And I looked at that, and my initial thought was, yeah, whatever, because the National Teamsters Union had failed to endorse, and their president Boyle had been hanging around with Trump. And so initially I had a little bit of cynicism, but I said, no, that's not fair. And so I went to their Facebook page. They have an active Facebook page. This is Teamsters Local 988 in Harris County. And one thing that was interesting, they have a little history of the union on their Facebook page. And they talk about how this used to be 2 locals. And as industry changed, previously Local 968 had been divided between freight drivers and warehouse workers who worked primarily in the grocery industry at places like Weingarten's in the 60s. Mm-hmm. So there wasn't enough people anymore for 2 locals. And so now we went to 1 local. Local 988 says it has 8,000 members in Harris County. And I looked at the picture of the meeting. So there's a picture, and it's on my blog from their Facebook page, of the meeting where the strike was authorized. And it was predominantly Black and brown. And I went through their Facebook page, curious if they had endorsed Harris, because then I started thinking, and I've frequently commented them on our Houston firefighters local 341. And the Teamsters Local 988, despite the Teamsters non-endorsement, they endorsed Harris. They did the right thing. They endorsed Harris. And what a sharp contrast to the firefighters union. The firefighters union, an AFL-CIO union, which has taken so much of our civic money, and the controller, Chris Hollins, has said that they've put our city financial status at risk. This is an article from Politico last October that the National Firefighters Union was on the cusp of endorsing Harris. But locals in New York, Boston, Philadelphia, and some officials in Los Angeles and Houston threatened to pull out of the larger union. Some threatened to pull out of the larger union if they endorsed Harris. So I wanted to make that one point, that that the local Teamsters Union 988 did endorse Harris. The firefighters union, who gets so much of our taxpayer money in a Harris Democratic voting city, the firefighters didn't do. So that just speaks to the autonomy that we have, the decisions that we make. Both unions were confronted by national union entities that did not endorse. And so I want to appreciate these workers at the Teamsters Local 988. And it got me to thinking more about labor. It got me to thinking. So I had read a book. It's called Rust Belt Union Blues. Rust Belt Union Blues. It's a good book, and just about 300 pages, easy read, about the rise of Republican voting by union members in West Pennsylvania over the last 30 or 40 years. And I liked the book because it didn't really excuse the workers, but it was fair. It was fair-minded at the same time. And so I'd really suggest it. Rust Belt Union Blues. exit polls, reliable exit polls, had union voters voting for Harris 57-41. 57-41. And I don't know what that 41% was thinking, but they were not thinking about their union. Now, in some respects, you can't blame them because you see all these unions, Teamsters, firefighters, some of the longshoremen, they're willing to buck the interest of the overall labor movement for what they want. So you really can't expect workers within the locals. If the unions themselves don't have loyalty to working class interests, why would you expect the rank and file members to do so? And if you have a group, we think naturally, inherently that labor is an ally. If 41% of the membership of a group or interest is backing Trump and these authoritarians, that is not a group or an interest we can trust in the difficult days ahead. And sometimes what I find myself thinking, unions will give money to Democratic candidates, but sometimes I think of them basically as an ATM, that if they're given the money, fine. But can I fully trust it? No. And I think that's something as progressives that we need to, in this political environment, if you're not a reliable ally, that needs to be seen. Locally, the Texas Gulf Coast AFL-CIO Labor Council is a strong backer of Whitmire and the firefighters. I've read in the past that they could be holding Mayor Whitmire accountable for his refusal to talk about the prospect of deportations, the refusal to spend any of his $10 million in the campaign bank to help local county political Democratic candidates. The Texas AFL-CIO was early in calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. Mayor Whitmire has tried to ban pro-Palestinian protesters for protesting at his house. And Mayor Whitmire's relentless attacks on public transit fall hardest on working people and disadvantaged Houstonians who often need public transit. And also there are Mayor Whitmire's endless attacks on the county judge and on Chris Hollins, who are labor-backed candidates. So there's ways that the local AFL-CIO could be holding Mayor Whitmire accountable. The labor also needs to be doing better education of its members. If we're asked to support labor, 41% of your members are voting for Trump. What effort are you making? Are you making the tough internal fights to alter the course of what they're doing? So I support labor, support the right to strike, support the right to organize. But in this political environment where it often feels that we're on our own, I can't personally live like that and retain any hope. But you've got to show concrete proof that you're an ally, you're a friend, and 40% of your members, without a hard effort to change their mind, voting for Trump. Big, important municipal unions like the firefighters having apparently an active role in not endorsing Harris, and looking the other way as Mayor Whitmire hangs out with Dan Patrick or the land commissioner Buckingham, who wants to give detention camp space to Trump, and not being an active ally of progressive causes in Houston. That's stuff we got to address, and that's stuff we need to be aware of as progressives and just freedom-loving Americans.
I so agree with you. I think the union's leadership need to be held accountable for not educating their membership that the policies of Donald Trump are actually anti-union. So being in a union and supporting Donald Trump it simply shows. I'm sorry. It shows a lack, not only a lack of understanding of politics, but a complete. I don't even know the word to do, but set a statement against oneself. It's almost a self-hate thing. But unfortunately, they use a lot of techniques to do that. They racialize things. They classify things. They also use they use all these identity mix-ups to try to get people to be at each other's throats. And it is something that we need to solve. But anyway, we got some callers. So let's go ahead and go to Brother Bruce. Come on in, Bruce.
Yeah, Egberto, this won't be quite as quick. I have two questions. Well, I have a question and I have a statement. The statement is 3 books changed my thinking about everything. And one is Escape from Freedom by Eric Fromm. The other one is From Freedom to Slavery by Jerry Spence. And, of course, Mary Trump, anything she wrote. And I want to get your book, so I need the name of your book again so I can have a local book store order it for me. The policy question I have is President Musk and Vice President Trump have mentioned that they want to get rid of the FDIC. Give me your expertise on what they're up to with that. And that's all I have. I'm getting off.
The only reason that I can think that they would want to get rid of the FDIC is to have more control over what banks can do. Because what happens is if you are a member of the FDIC, there are certain rules that as a banker you have to follow. Otherwise, I sit back and say it makes no sense because it's the only thing that saves that, to put it bluntly, it's the only thing that saved the banking sector during the 2008 meltdown. All right. In fact, they propped up the FDIC during the 2008 meltdown so that it would pay off most people instead of just a cap that it has right now. I believe it's at $200,000 in deposits.
And they want you to put the money in crypto. They don't want you to have any confidence. They want in traditional systems, they want you to put the money in crypto and Godspeed if you think that's going to profit you.
Well, you know what? That is why I said they don't want they want to get rid of regulations, right? Because crypto is not something that's regulated. So therefore, if you lose your crypto, you lose everything. Let me tell you, right now, people are losing their crypto. If you forget your password or something like that, your money is gone. In other words, it doesn't exist anymore. For those who don't understand what crypto is just a token that is received from a computer program that simply runs a formula over and over and over till it gets a unique number. And that unique number becomes a piece of money. And when they say we're mining for crypto dollars, what you're doing is you're mining for a particular number that shares a certain set of characteristics. When that number is found, it is placed on a chart in thousands of computers around the world. So one of the other things with crypto, it is very energy intensive since all these things have to be kept in databases on thousands of computers that compare each other throughout the system. It's a ridiculously silly system where a lot of people have made a lot of money. It's no better than gambling. It's a step above the stock market in gambling. And the stock market is a gambling mechanism, but we can get into that another time. Let's go to Bart. Come on in, Bart.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Good morning, Neil. I'm happy to hear that you're going after Whitmire. He's just another Democrat in there doing Democrat things. But
well, he says he's a Democrat. I think he actually believes he's a Democrat, but I think that speaks to the ethos that Egberto sets for the show, that we're not straight party line folks. I'd be happy to his ally, Carol Alvarado, be happy to offer some criticisms of her too.
Good. I agree. But my question is, do you think that anybody, maybe the Texas Rangers, will ever go after Sylvester Turner for all the corruption that was in his department with the Houston Housing Authority and the water department contracts? And I know they made Troy Finner, the interim chief, the scapegoat of the 250,000 dismissed cases. That's
well, I'll tell you, Bart, I read that 90-page report, and there needed to be some, not scapegoats, but there was, I read the 90-page report where the former councilwoman and Mayor Pro Tem Ellen Cohen was the chair, and there were others, I'm sorry, I forget who worked on it. But there's a 90-page report on that dismissed case where they said lack of resources and used a code that they were not allowed to use. And all I can say is that there was a lot of long-term looking the other way, knowing that code was wrong, and the media should have aggressively covered that. I'm not going to get in. I don't know who individually should have been fired or moved on, but if that had happened on my watch, I would not be proud of that. And I appreciate you calling and making that comment about widespread inattentiveness to duty by our Houston Police Department, because that's what that case was, and that's really been swept under the rug.
Yeah, and the chief before Finner, what was his name? I forgot, but he just went on about. Yes, he should be held accountable.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I appreciate it. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
wow,
HPD really got away with that, and there's long term. Why don't we ever? Every time we talk about more crime or not, whether crime is up or it's just being talked about, we blame the judges, we blame this and that. Why are police never held accountable? I mean, isn't that their job to stop crime? Why do the answer is always more police? How maybe, but the answer never seems to be, hey, couldn't our police be doing better?
I agree. We're on the same page.
Absolutely.
Wow. I love every time we find some sort of a kumbaya moment. So, Bart, anything else you want to ask? And folks, the telephone number is 713-526-5738. Again, the number is 713-526-5738. All lines are open after Brother Bart is done. Anything else, Bart?
Yeah, I do want to add one thing. Since we're having all these good feelings, I need to turn that around. I mean, I'm sick of you guys talking about how great Kamala Harris is. She blew $1 billion in 100. What was it? $2 billion or $1 billion?
No, it's $1.2 billion. And you and I thought you said you wanted to come up with something that we will disagree on. I think that $1.2 billion was blown too. Unfortunately, when you leave certain things up to the establishment and certain things up to the elitist in Washington, who will never know a working class person if they spit in their face. So again, you're absolutely right, Bart.
Right. And we were talking about how great Harris is. We were, if you're referencing what we discussed earlier, that it was right conduct for the Teamsters Local 988 to endorse Harris. We weren't saying coronate or deify her. We were just saying, it was proper for them to endorse her rather than the anti-worker Trump. And in terms of the 1.2 billion, I'd like to know where that money went. And that, you think of organizers, and that's in essence what Egberto and I are. And we're hoping for, to we solicit donations and contributions. It's tough. It's tough to see that amount of money go.
Blown.
I mean, that Las Vegas Spear, that big old video ball there in the middle of Las Vegas, I read that's where Harris was on. It's $450,000 a day. And just imagine if they had organized Black and brown and working class communities in Las Vegas or Reno in an effective manner, rather than spending the money on that big ball there.
Exactly. And so again, hey, Bart, my God, Bart, I think you are a progressive brother, man.
Well, from what I understand, she's left the Democrat Party in shambles. They are out of money. They have no rudder right now. They have no leader, and
let's clean that up. Let's clean that up some, Bart. Let me just tell you. You see, brother Neil right here. That's a leader in the Democratic Party that you're looking at right now. You have leaders all over the Democratic Party, not because you don't see them on TV, mean they're leaderless. What needs to be done is to rid the Democratic Party of the establishment, which really is nothing more than the neoliberal set that is a faction of, both the Democratic and the other party is a faction of it. So, Bart, look, maybe keep on listening. I'm glad that you're listening, because it seems like you're coming to terms with a lot of good.
That's right. And before we go to the next caller, the kind caller two callers ago asked Egberto to plug his books. And here is Tribulations of an Afro-Latino Caribbean Man, an excellent book from Egberto.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to make sure that the caller got his request heard.
And, I think one of the ones he was asking about is how to make America utopia. That one talks about the economic system, as well as I see it, class warfare, the only resort to right-wing doom. I'm not plugging these. I'm on radio. But the caller asked So I think I was obliged to respond.
I'm not plugging. I'm informing. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If I missed across the prohibition, but those are books in response to the caller's call.
Exactly. Anything else, Bart, before I jump to Steve?
Yeah. So my point was that they were saying that Harris may run again in 4 years, and that made me so happy. I hope she does. Please, please, please let her run again. That would be so great for.
I think she'll more than run for president, likely run for governor. That's my expectation, really, for governor of California. Now, like I said, Harris' heart and her true beliefs, I know where they are based on her past experiences and based on who she is. Unfortunately, the Democratic Party did not allow that to come to fruition. Again, she was very well managed. So there's a lot to talk about there. But Bart, let's talk another time. Thank you for calling. And it looks like you and Neil have found some good common ground, brother.
Yeah. Looks like you're like the Grinch. Your heart has expanded by multiple sizes, and you now are a solid progressive. And I appreciate. It's a Christmas miracle.
Hey, have a great one. And in case I don't hear from you again, you have a happy Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, happy whatever you are, brother.
That's right.
Let's go to Steve.
Hey, Feliz Navidad, hermanos y hermanas.
Hey, hermano, estás hablando español. That's great. Talk to me, my brother.
Un poquito. Merry Christmas, Neil. Thanks for always being there weekly.
Thank you. Very kind. Right back at you.
Yeah, thank you both. I've got a Christmas wish for you, Egberto, particularly. Could you potentially change your show just a little bit? I know it's politics done right, but could you change it to Peter, PEDR, politics and economics done right?
Well, I'll think about it. Why don't I tell you what? Why don't you get a lot of folks to put different names in the pool, and then that's a good thing. But I kind of like that, though. I like the economics part because I'm an economic junkie, right?
Yeah, exactly. You did talk about the healthcare and all the inequalities here in the states. The haves and the have-nots, and the big wide range, and it's more for the people and not for the billionaire class, right?
Actually, hey, let me tell you something, brother. And I don't know if you realize this or not, but if Americans we don't have a grasp of the income and wealth disparity in this country. And we are so willing to believe that there is scarcity that we have to work as hard as we work, because Americans are the hardest workers on the planet. Let me tell you that. Americans are the hardest workers on the planet. And for what they receive in return from the plutocrats they work for, if they really understood the truth, there would be a revolt. Anyway, what else, Steve?
Oh, that's mostly it, but I agree. It's why work yourself, 15 hours a day to your death and not enjoy your family and your friends and what nature has to offer, right?
Exactly.
So, hopefully y'all have a great new year and happy holidays. Thanks.
Thank you, brother. You have one as well if I don't hear from you. Let's go to Brother Patrick. Come on in, Patrick.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, my brother. Talk to me.
Hey, surprisingly, I'm agreeing with Bart. The election was a waste of money, and I'm even going to sound even more right wing with this, because I'm going to sound like I'm proposing a conspiracy, but I don't think it's a conspiracy. I think it's kind of out in the open. I think that money was wasted intentionally. I don't think the Democrats wanted to win. And the reason why I can say that is every single time we get a progressive in, like AOC yesterday, they are extremely effective at defeating their own party. They defeated Bernie. They hate the squad. They don't want a progressive in, and it's starting to look like they don't even want to win. They look more like a controlled opposition.
Actually, I don't disagree with that at all. I'll tell you a little secret. I was supposed to attend a special meeting last night, right? And I kept on thinking about it. I signed up to go to a special meeting that was going to discuss a lot of things. I believe I felt that it was going to be what was going to be discussed was sort of what you were talking about here. And then when I thought about who the organizers of the event was, I said, you know what? I have a whole lot of blogs I need to write and get out and put stuff out to the people. Should I go ahead and waste 4 hours, an hour getting there, 2 hours in the meeting, and an hour back to do that? And I said to myself, my 4 hours is better spent doing stuff that I think will talk to more people than talking among ourselves as those of us who are Democrats.
Let me
go ahead, Neil.
I wrote a post October 13th. So I think that the Harris folks wanted to win, but I think also that there is a controlled opposition is a good term, and there's a whole political class that wants its money. I wrote a post on the blog October 13th. Elected Democrats are often not connected to the concerns and hopes of party rank and file. They want to raise the money and hoard the money. You see where Rodney Ellis, John Whitmire have huge amounts of money that they don't spend. Raise campaign funds for whatever its permissive campaign finance allow. Tamp down voter turnout and political enthusiasm to avoid an active political climate that generates primaries, cater to donors, do as little as possible and still be an elected official, not anger Republicans in a legislative chamber who might control committee assignments. And you see that's a fight in the current Texas speaker's fight. Look for a safe place to land in an entirely possible authoritarian future. So there are plenty of reasons that electeds and the political class I don't think they wanted Trump to win, but is it a controlled opposition? Is it sometimes a grift? Is there a whole bunch of money going on that we don't see? I think.
I think there's a lot of credence. I hear you, Neil. I think there's a lot of credence to Patrick with regards, and I think you're right. You are right. She wanted to win. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
The problem is enough people in the establishment really didn't give a damn because they're all a part of this cabal. And before you come back in, Patrick, I want to read something from Glenn Ryan. Glenn Ryan had 3 posts on the chat. One said, why not support a party that runs working class people? Then he says, wake up, Egberto. They have been saying, let's get rid of the neoliberals from the DNC since Clinton. Remember, Clinton established that, I forgot what it's called. It was a group of what I call blue dog Democrats. It won't happen, so go green. The DLC, I think it was called the Democratic
Leadership Council.
Right, DLC. It won't happen, go green. And then Glenn Ryan also says, then why do you continue to support the party establishment? Go left, my brother. Stop spinning your wheels. I really hear you, brother Glenn Ryan. But like I tell the Greens and I tell a lot of different groups that are trying to be parties, show me the way. Show me a viable way outside of the 2-party system. And let me take my host hat off and I will be on board. You are my ally, Mr. Glenn Ryan. You are. Show me the way. Show me a viable way and show me the path. I don't know everything. You don't know everything. Neil doesn't know everything. Patrick doesn't know everything. If somebody comes up with the appropriate idea, those names that I just called you that are great activists, they will be there to follow. And
it's not just ideological. Mm-hmm. It's not just the progressive parts. It's super important, but it's not even just ideological.
Right.
It's just the basic. Sometimes I just find myself just wanting, just for basic regular establishment Democrats, please just do your basic duty of generating turnout and trying. So it is ideological, but it's not entirely.
Yeah. So, I mean, so Glenn, it's that again, we should be fighting among each other. We should be saying, what is the solution? Show the pathway. Go ahead, Patrick.
Well, with AOC, that was the last straw with me. I'm no longer going to send money to Act Blue. I'm going to take that money and I'm going to spend it more on grassroots.
Thank you, Patrick. Let me tell you something. I've been telling. I don't do the blue host thing anymore. Okay, I provide. I go ahead and I subscribe to a whole lot of Substacks. Right. I subscribe to a whole lot of other channels with people putting data out. As far as saying I am sending money to, let's say, a party, that for me has been gone for some time now. I am doing my part, but I'm doing it with people who are out there on the ground. I'm working to get Neil and I go out to other functions. We do. I mean, look, it's not, you have to, you're absolutely right. And if more people did what you just said, Patrick, it'll wake up a lot of people. Anything else, Patrick, before I jump to Harry?
No, that's it. Thank you very much for all the time.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. All right, let's go, brother Harry. Come on in. How's your brother?
Good morning, Brother Egberto. Good morning, Neil Aquino. Good morning, Howard. Good morning, Magic Jack. I'm enjoying these shows. You know, I haven't called in a while, but like I said, when I don't call, I always listen. This show is very edifying and educational. Egberto, I'm really glad that you pointed that out about the cryptocurrency, because crypto can be a scam, and people have to be careful with that sort of thing. And I'm glad you're pointing those things out to help people so that they don't lose their money. And let's pray that the FDIC, that Elon Musk and Donald Trump don't get their way, and the FDIC, as we know it, goes away. So, because when these banks smash, people get in trouble and lose their money. And these mean-spirited Republicans don't care. They don't care about people's savings. They're just like, you're on your own, Jack. And we just can't have that. And Egberto, I'm also glad that you point, and Howard, you as well, that torpedo bill. I think the government will get something done, but neoliberals, progressives, please don't help these Republicans out with these, because the debt ceiling, the government has to run, and the debt ceiling has to be raised. But they always have these arguments, and hopefully they can compromise. I was reading on there before, as I was waiting to come on, about they're talking about Democrat giveaways. And one other thing, Howard, thanks for playing that song, Maxo Man by Foreplay. I haven't heard that in a long time. And you were talking about Show the Pathway. I mentioned this to you a while back, Howard. Show Me the Way by Greg Carruthers. I would like for you to play that before Egberto's show starts. Feliz Navidad to you, Neil Aquino. I love everything you're talking about locally. Keep up the good work about you.
Thank you.
Unions are your friends, I've always said. And those 41% that didn't support unions, they're suckers. Donald Trump, as we know, thinks unions are for suckers. So let's hope that he doesn't win, and people will wise up and realize that unions are for the workers and the working class, and so that they have better working conditions and they don't get screwed by these Republicans or some neoliberals.
Thank you very much for your commentary, Harry, and give your brother my regards. All right.
Well, I was going to say that my brother, he's doing better. His feet, the swelling in his feet and all that, he's managing that, and he says hello, and he does want to talk to you about something, Egberto. We talked last night, and I told him, call Egberto and talk to him about this. So he'll be calling this show to talk to you about it.
Thank you, brother. You have a good one. Saludos, hermano. Let's go to Sister Betty. Sister Betty, come on in.
Hi, Egberto. Good morning. Let's don't hang our head down, Tom Dooley. To all the blues, let's get up our own posse now against fascism, bigotry, sleazebags, big bellies, who will be in control. Time is crucial, not easy. And Harry, sound like Harry got some rest. It is so good. Love y'all. Bye-bye.
Love you too, young lady. You have a great day.
All right.
Let me get to Glenn. Glenn's response to what I said is, show me the way through the DNC. How has that been working for 40 years now? Glenn, I don't know if you listened to what I said, but my brother Glenn, let's stop trying to find a way to be at each other's throats and do this for me. Show me the way. Lay it out. Let's not just throw things in the air. Lay it out. We're going to do this. We're going to use this process to do this and get here. I don't know how it's done outside of parties that can actually be effective. Okay? I want to do it some other way. And if you can build enough consensus from the rest of the population to do it, my contention to progressives when we lose always is we have to work harder, those of us who are progressives, to convince people that the progressive way is the way. I think it was disastrous for us not to point out the good things that Biden did from more progressive than any president since FDR. I'm not talking about the wars. I'm not talking about some of the compromises he made, but I'm talking about solid policies passed since FDR. You can't look at things as a monolith and just say Biden is a neoliberal, terrible. You have to look at what people do on an individual policy by policy basis. That's all I'm saying, Brother Glenn. And Mark, Ali, Curtis, welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's go to Solomon.
Hello?
Yes, you're on.
Oh, hi. Yes, I heard a news report about the inflation rate. When Obama ended his term, the inflation rate allegedly was 1.2%.
Okay.
When Trump left his term, he started off at 1.9 but ended at 4.2.
Mm-hmm.
The advisors for Trump are indicating that Trump maintained a 1.4 inflation rate while he was in office.
They lie. Yeah, they lie.
Yeah, no, that's not what the data says. Did the tariffs and his first administration plus the impact of COVID, or those two variables the same? Did they both cause the inflation rate to go up to 4.2%?
No, there are two different mechanisms. Did Trump's increase in tariff cause inflation to go up? Yes. Why? Because anytime prices increase on any product, that's inflation. So yes, it did cause it. I don't know the exact numbers that occurred, but my hunch would be that a large portion of Trump's 4.2 inflation had more to do. Hey, Gil, please call back. Gil, please call back. We'd like to hear from you real quickly. So call back right now. We'll get you on. Now, I don't know how much of the 4.2% would have been the tariff. My hunch is a lot of that had to do with the supply chain initially. In other words, you get the shock from the supply chain and then the gouging from the plutocracy begins. Now, when it comes to Biden, I think I've done programs already where I've actually shown that when you remember under Biden, it got as high as 9-point-something%. According to Congresswoman, I can't remember her name right now, half of that was corporate greed. But the other half came from corporate mismanagement of the supply chain. So we have to put that against the corporation as well. But thank you for raising that. And I hope other people realize that most of what they hear from Donald Trump are lies when it comes to his economic prowess. He's nowhere close to being the best economic president. In fact, he is pretty much down the bottom. Anything else, my brother?
Oh, my goodness. No, that's it for now, boss. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. You have a good one. All right, Gil, call back real quickly and we can get you in. Give me some closing remarks, Neil.
Good. Well, everybody have a nice holiday. I think this is the last time I will be on before the end of the year. Have a great New Year. Please treat each other well. Please observe crosswalks. Drive sober. Drive safely. Let's treat each other better in the public sphere. Give room to bikers and pedestrians and to yourself. I'm at HoustonDemocracyProject.com, and the John Cornyn Houston office protest will be out there Christmas Eve, 11:30 to 1 at 5300 Memorial Drive. If you have time, if you're off for the holiday, please join us, 5300 Memorial Drive, 11:30 to 1. We have extra signs for everyone, and it will be our 411th week.
Imagine that, 411 consecutive weeks of protesting against Cornyn. Let me ask you this: is it do you have it prominently displayed on your website, HoustonDemocracyProject.com?
I do push it aggressively, and we are out there. It's about Senator Cornyn. It's also essential just that people see others like themselves willing to stand openly and confidently for democracy. We've always said voting is essential, but that's not going to be enough. You saw the situation in South Korea 3 weeks ago, where the folks urgently came down and I think altered the course of events. We could have use of the Insurrection Act here. There are all sorts of things. We have lots of motorists count on us being there. It's a very busy corner, Memorial and Dietering. And it really is essential. We get our positive reactions are 10 to 1. And it's essential people see others like themselves. You know what is great is, first of all, Neil, thank you for doing that for the last 412 weeks. And let's, did you say 412? Next week will be 411. 411 weeks. And so it works. And we can learn something from South Korea. As soon as their authoritarian uses authoritarian powers, they impeached him. I'll throw it back to the studio.
And nothing from me, but Jack, what do you got? You got something?
Well, I believe tomorrow I'm going to do Santa Claus is a capitalist.
Aha! All right. I can't wait to hear that, brother. I can't wait to hear that. Anyway, we got to get out of here, folks. I love you all. Please remember the rest of the show is at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. And let's see what else. If you didn't get the full information for the book, Bruce, you can always email me at kpft@politicsdoneright.com, kpft@politicsdoneright.com. Anyway, folks, love you all. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out! Support for this show, Politics Done Right, comes from politicsdoneright.com, publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It. As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willies.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTO